Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, NIW approved. A lot has happened in the last 1 week, and you will be getting beautiful information that will equip you for a time like this. In this channel, our goal is to provide you with wonderful information that will help you in your immigration journey so as you can to achieve that transformation. Welcome, welcome, and we're in for a lot today.
Welcome to NIW Approved, your ultimate guide to navigating the National Interest Waiver Green Card process with confidence. Hi, I'm Gertrude Onuoha, ESQ, an immigration attorney with years of experience helping professionals like you achieve their dreams through the NIW Green Card process. Whether you're an engineer, scientist, artist, or entrepreneur, you're in the right place. Here on NIW Approved, we provide expert tips for building a strong case, real-life success stories, answers to your most pressing questions, and actionable strategies to navigate your NIW journey with ease. Ready to take the next step in your immigration journey? Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our growing community of professionals turning their expertise into approval. Don't just dream it, get it approved. Subscribe now, and let's make your NIW success story the next one.
All right, thank you all for joining today. My name is Gertrude Onuoha. I am an immigration attorney from the state of New York. We represent clients all over the 50 states and outside the United States. And today we'll be taking your questions live. So if you have any questions regarding immigration in this wonderful season, feel free to, throw in your questions. I'll do my best to answer you and provide information. Of course, everything we're saying here today is just for educational purpose. And I really look forward to meeting all of you. If you know anyone who may be interested in what we're talking about today, feel free to give them the link and have them join in. Also, I appreciate you for being here today. I would like to know who you are, if this is your first time, where you're joining from, and of course, your name. So, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're joining in from. Please let me know. Thank you for joining in today. I believe that I will be providing wonderful content that will really be of help to everyone. So, let's get that rolling in. Yeah. All right. While you're putting in your names and where you're joining in from, I will first of all talk about one or two things, and then I will also start from the last questions. Last week we had about a couple of questions we couldn't finish answering, so I'm going to start from there, and then, of course, if you have any more questions, feel free to throw in your questions. So, just for update purpose, there's a lot of rates that's been going on in some cities. Okay, I see Adeyemi joining in from Nigeria. Wow, that's amazing. Welcome. This should be maybe evening time over there. You're very welcome, Mr. Adeyemi. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, I want to know where you're joining in from, and I want to give you special greetings. God bless you. Thank you for joining. Thank you. All right. So there's been lots of raids going on, and we've heard this in the news in cities like New York, where my office is located, and Miami, Chicago, and hey, the question is, what is the priority of this government? When it comes to these raids. So pretty much, I think the focus is mostly on those illegal immigrants with criminal backgrounds. Okay. If you have any criminal background issues, you've been found guilty or adjudged guilty by any court of law, definitely in this season, I highly recommend that you speak to your attorney. And if you don't have one, you can definitely reach out to us. Number one, you want to know what you may qualify for, and two, how much of your criminal background will really impact your immigration journey here in the United States. And as a segue to that, there's a new law that's just been passed. It's called the Lacking Riley Act. So that act has to do with illegal immigrants who have criminal issues as well. So, quite frankly, if you have any kind of criminal issue, this is a very strong red flag, and you should definitely highly recommend that you talk to your attorney, or you talk to us through consultation, and then we will be able to help you. So this Laken Riley Act really says that there will be mandatory incarceration for people who have certain, criminal issues. So again, you really want to pay attention to that act because it has far-reaching consequences, meaning that you'll be mandatorily, detained. That's very serious. I wish if we could put in that act so that I can directly read from it. So what that means is that yeah, it's if you can see it, it says President Trump signs the Larkin Riley Act into law. So it specifically states that this law mandates the federal detention of illegal immigrants who are accused of theft, burglary, assaulting a law enforcement officer, and any crime that causes death or serious bodily injury. So, hey, I mean, for this is serious. Mandatory detention. So that's huge. So you want to pay attention to that. How could that impact you? What this means is that, I mean, if they get you anywhere, they're going to pick you up, and guess what? You'll be detained throughout even your removal process. Like if you have to go to court, normally the removal deportation process takes a while. So, and sometimes we're able to get people, living normal lives while waiting for a decision on their immigration case. But with this new law, you will be detained mandatorily, and you have to be there throughout the process. So that's huge. That's serious. Again, what does this mean for you? You may not have any criminal issue, but then be careful. Things like drunk driving, especially for international students, want to pay attention to things like drunk driving. And those are things that could really land you in trouble. So and there are other, look at it, it does talk about theft, and there are different types of thefts that could really take place. So you really want to be careful in this season as an international student, as an immigrant. Even if you have the green card, you still want to be careful in this season. Also, pay attention to overstays. People who have overstayed, those are also people that could be picked up. So who is an overstay? Essentially, it could be that you enter the United States legally, and then your visa expired and you're no longer in status. And then, or you came in, you entered illegally without any kind of inspection at the port of entry. Um, yeah, that is also an issue. So those two categories of people are categorized as people who are, undocumented, and they are overstays. So if you're an overstay, please note that you are also um, likely to be picked up. And then, of course, good news regarding the funds freeze. We know that President Trump actually said he was going to like freeze some funds, but thank God that order has been rescinded. So for now, that is not a problem. And then also, I want to talk about the EB2 NIW category. Those of you that are looking to apply for the EB2 NIW, number one, if you qualify, please move ahead to make the application. If you qualify for something, why don't you make the application? What is the fear? And if you're not sure whether you qualify, reach out to us. We can do that consultation for you and, you know, make a determination as to whether you're qualified. But if you qualify, go ahead to apply, because the thing about application for benefit is, even if you're undocumented and then you feel you've spoken to an attorney and you've been told you qualify for a benefit and then you apply, you see, you stand a better chance because now you have an application that's pending here in the United States. Even if you get picked up, you can always present your receipt notice to the officer and say, hey, I have this case pending. Maybe I have a U visa case pending, I have a VAWA case pending, or I have an EB2 NIW case pending. And if something is pending in the system, it's you stand a better chance than somebody who has nothing that's pending. Again, that is not to say you should apply for anything frivolous. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that do a consultation, find out what you may qualify for, and if you find out that you qualify for anything, move ahead to apply. Okay. Also, churches are being raided right now. So I don't mean right now as I'm talking, I mean in this season. So you really want to pay attention to um, your children. If you are undocumented and your children are documented, you really want to have a safety plan. So what that means, you want to make sure you have a nest of kin. You want to make sure that important documentations are duplicated. You want to make sure that you are carrying around your receipt notices. You want to make sure that you are a member of a community at a time like this. And then you want to make sure you make alternative plan. If I get picked up and I have three little children here in the United States, what happens? Are they going to go with me to wherever I'm being shipped to? Or are they going to stay here? If they're going to stay here, who's going to take care of them? These are things we should not be shy of discussing. Let's have this conversation with our family members. It's better to have a plan than not to have a plan. Okay, this is very, very, very important. And also, if you have an EB2 NIW case that's pending, this is a time when you really want to make sure that if you can ask for premium processing, you can go ahead and ask for premium so that you know the end of the game. Am I being approved or am I not being approved? Because if we go with the way things are going right now, there might be a the process might be slowed down. Where if there's going to be interview for all these green card cases, there might be a slowdown in the immigration process. So if you need to use the premium processing tool to accelerate your case, please feel free to do that. That might be very, very helpful. So these are some things that I just said I'll put out there so that we can help the community. On that note, I will begin to take your questions. If you have any question regarding immigration, I'm happy to answer your questions. Please keep in mind that this is just for educational purpose. And also, one other announcement I want to make is that I will be hosting an exclusive Zoom meeting for pastors. This will just be for pastors and church leaders to really help them and equip them on how to deal with these issues of raiding churches being raided and all that. So please, if you're a pastor here listening to me right now, feel free to subscribe. And if you're not a pastor, feel free to send the link to them, and we will definitely be hosting this sometime this week, February 5th precisely, and that will be 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I'm going to start taking your questions. So if you have any question regarding immigration, please feel free to drop them on in the chat. But I'm going to start from the question we had last week. So let's start with those questions. If I can get them on the chat, please. So I think one of the question was somebody was asking, what does it mean to be out of status? So when you say you're out of status here in the world of immigration, it means that you do not have any immigration status. So normally, when immigrants enter into the United States, they come in as visitors or workers, and they come in with different type of status, right? Depending on what they're coming in to do. If you're a student, you're coming in as F1 or J1 or M visa. So, so sometimes people enter into the United States without inspection. So those people do not have any status. They entered without inspection. Okay, maybe through the border. Then we also have those who enter the United States legally, but at some point, their status expired and they didn't do anything about it. They didn't try to extend it, they didn't try to fix it. They just allowed everything to lapse. So now they are inside the United States without status. They could also be categorized as overstay because you entered, you were welcomed in, you came in with a status, but now you overstayed that status. So if you are in that category, you are not in a good place at this time because those are the kind of people that will be picked up in this administration. You definitely don't want to be in that place. And let me just give you a sense of hope. Even if you are an overstay, there's lots of remedies. Talk to a lawyer, especially a good immigration lawyer. They'll walk you through the process. They'll analyze your case. They'll be able to tell you what you can do. So um, you should really not feel hopeless because you don't have status currently right now in the US. Um, there are pathways that will even help people who are completely out of status right now. For example, VAWA, if you qualify for VAWA, that could be helpful. U visa, that could be helpful. Asylum, T visas. Even if you are the spouse of a US citizen, okay, or you are the parent of an adult US citizen. So there could be some way out. Don't just sit down wherever you are and feel hopeless. Pick up your phone. This is a time for you to be active. Being passive at a time like this does not help anybody. Do you understand? So yeah, that's the question for Miss Ayo. Can we have the next question, please? All right, Mr. Aminu, what is at stake for people in the arts or humanities looking for EB1? Wonderful question. That's a very beautiful question. So, because a lot of people think that it's only those that are in STEM that really get approved for these things. That's not true. Let's start with the EB1. The EB1 is a pathway for those who are categorized as extraordinarily talented. You have extraordinary ability, right? So if you're somebody that is really top notch, and what does extraordinary ability mean? Under the law, it means someone who is really at the top of their profession, that 1% that's really, knocking it out in their profession. They've really achieved a lot, and if you feel that you meet that criteria, yes, definitely you want to take advantage of what the law provides. So under the law, you need to show three out of about seven things. You want to show that maybe you've held critical or leadership positions in your place of work. You want to show that you've carried out some type of research that really is very helpful and that's very significant, not just any type of research. Or you are a member, you are in a kind of association where membership is based on merit, not just paying a fee. You understand? Or you've been talked about in the news. Your achievement has been really lauded in news, or you have really reviewed the work of people. You help people to review their work in prestigious journal. Guys, let me just say this right now. The EB1 is a very high standard. Let's not kid ourselves. So if you feel that the standard is too high, then just go to the EB2 category. That might be better off. But for the EB1, definitely the standard is very high. So now let's address this issue of arts or humanities. My way of approaching it, and again, we're different lawyers, different approach. But my way, I don't focus necessarily on the profession. I always want to look at your credentials. What are you bringing to the table? That's what it comes down to. It's what you're bringing to the table that it comes down to, not necessarily your profession. You understand? So, because your strength, your what are your credentials? What are your achievements? So, even if you are in the arts or you've done so much, in humanities you've done so much, then or you meet all those requirements of the law I've talked about, you've reviewed people's journals, you've done some significant research in prestigious journals, these things have been published in prestigious journals, you've become members of associations where they really require like prestigious achievements and it's merit based, or you've done some other comparable things that show that you are really extraordinary in the field, or maybe you have very, very high income, right? So if you have these things, it really doesn't matter whether you are in the arts or in humanities. You understand? So my answer in summary is that your credentials will speak at the end of the day, your achievement. And again, for that to happen, guys, you need to do that consultation. You really, somebody has to look at that your portfolio. Very, very important. All right. So that's my answer to that. Any other question? So this person says, what can I do to adjust my status before the DS expires? That's an interesting question. So when it comes to DS, so um let's just backtrack so that I can give a very competent answer here. So when a student enters into the United States, okay, in your country, they may say, okay, take 2 years in your visa stamp. They give you 2 years for your course of study. Okay. Upon arrival in the United States, that visa will enable you to be admitted into the United States. Now, upon arrival, at the port of entry, there will be a notation on your passport and it's called DS. This is exclusively for students. DS means duration of status, which means that as long as you are in school, you're undertaking a full course of study, and that could mean different things for different people in terms of your credit load, you are in status. The implication of that is that that visa that was given to you in your country may actually expire. So your 2 years may expire, but you might find yourself still in school running your course. You are not unlawfully in the United States. In other words, you are legally in the United States, even though the initial visa granted has expired. However, you are still undertaking your course of study. So to that extent, you're lawfully in the United States. Now, this person is saying, essentially what you're asking me is that how do I change my status from student status to maybe an immigrant status? So there are many pathways. There are many pathways. You could go through the family-based pathways, meaning that again, it depends on what's going on with you. A family member can file for you, and that could be your spouse, that could be your parent, that could be your child. So you could also do the humanitarian pathway where you could adjust your status if you qualify for asylum, T visa, U visa, VAWA. Okay, and again, all these things we've used them for different clients. Again, it depends on if you are eligible. Okay, and then if you want to use the employment-based pathway, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5, those are different pathways that you could use. So again, at the end of the day, you want to determine what you are eligible for. As an international student studying here in the United States, what you don't want to ever happen is when you are done with your studies, done with your OPT, you have 60 days to leave the United States and then you begin to panic. You never want to be in that panic mode, okay? Because now you have 60 days to depart the United States. So you should have a game plan way before you get to that 60 days. You understand? You should have, researched, and it's wonderful that you are in a channel like this because again we give out this information so you can take advantage of what the law says, okay? Because the law has been there, you didn't write these laws, right? So there are pathways that have been written and established, laid down procedure. You just need to find out if you qualify, and one of the easiest way for you to find out is to talk with an attorney and also work with an attorney. So if you have an attorney, go to them, sit with them, ask them that, okay, I'm a student here in the United States. and I'll be concluding my studies maybe in the next 5 or 6 months. I have OPT for 1 year. I don't have a job. I don't know if I'm going to even be able to do my OPT, but I like to know how I can adjust my status here in the United States. And your lawyer will sit down with you and review all the options, and then they'll find out whichever option you qualify. And hey, if they can't find anything, then you may have to return back home. That's an option. I know a lot of people don't want to. Most clients don't even want to hear that. But the truth is that going back home is an option. You know, why am I saying that? Because sometimes you may you may be able to apply for something, and then you might not be able to wait for that thing because now your status is expiring. So you might go home, wait, and then do what is called consular processing. Essentially, I'm saying that you need to find out what is available for you out there in a timely manner, and then be very diligent with your immigration process. Okay, I have a question from Mr. Ojo. He says, if an international student still in status, but at one point in time did Uber and now wants to file for PR, that's permanent resident under marriage, could that affect the PR approval? All right, guys, for our general listener, um, again, I don't know all the details, but you're not telling me when you did the Uber, okay? Could it be that you did the Uber while you were in your OPT period and you had work authorization? Okay, so I don't know the details, but I'm going to address it in two phases. So let's just assume that you did it when you were not authorized to do it. So let me just make this very clear. DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, and all those things, they are considered work. They are considered work. And if you are not authorized to do that type of work here in the United States, that's what is called violation of your F1 status. I just want all international students to understand something. The reason why you got the F visa or the M visa or the J visa is because you're here to study. You're not here to work. You came here to study or to undertake some type of research. You're a student here. So the primary reason why you're here is to undertake some kind of studies or research. However, the law does provide, in a very restricted manner, some opportunities for you to work. Okay? So, what are these opportunities? 20 hours of work on campus, um, during your curricular practical training, or during your CPT, OPT, optional practical training, at the conclusion of your studies, or if you have extraordinary situation where you'd have to go through a particular process with the USCIS and your school. So I just want to say first and foremost, and I'm just using this question to address this issue. If you, as an international student, you're here in the United States, you feel you need to work, please liaise with your international students office. Very, very important. Don't jump to go do DoorDash, what's it called, Uber or Lyft on your own. Those are considered work. And if you do that without permission, that is considered unauthorized work. It means you have violated the terms of your visa. Okay? And if you now want to seek for a green card approval, sorry, you now want to adjust your status, there will be questions there that will be asked you. Have you at any time violated the terms of your visa? You will need to answer that question correctly. So, having said that, let's look at the other category. What if you do this DoorDash? Let's say you're on OPT, or maybe you applied for your green card and you have EAD given to you. So now you have work authorization that's not tied to any employer. So, I mean, if you are authorized to work, then you can do the DoorDash or Lyft. Again, for Ojo, I don't know exactly when you did this work, but I just want to say for those of you who have Again, if two things I want to say before I leave this question. If your wife, Mr. Ojo, is a citizen of the United States, of course you have to disclose this in your application, and I think they might be able to waive it for you. Okay. Then, if you applied for the EB1, EB2, and I know of EB4 as well, and there's been I mean, when I say EB4, I'm talking specifically for those under the religious visa. There's been unauthorized work, so the government is willing to forgive for as long as, I think, unauthorized work for 180 days. Okay, but you have to seek for this waiver. You have to ask for it. Okay, so but again, having said that, unauthorized work is a very strong red flag. I will advise you to stay clear of it. If you really need to work, talk to your DSO or your international students office. They know how to work these things out, and they'll be able to help you. And Mr. Ojo, if you need to provide us with more information, feel free to reach out to 129719704. Thank you. Okay. Does applying for EB2 NIW or EB1 affect your OPT application? I wish you could give me more details about this, but I would not say yes. I don't think it should affect it because um, until you get your green card approved under any of this EB1 or EB2, you are still in, let me assume in this case, maybe student status, right? Until you get that adjustment of status approved, you're still in student status. And when you're in student status, you can seek to adjust your status legally here in the United States. So my answer would be I don't think it will affect it. But again, if there's more to this question than what it looks like, reach out to us, give us more details, and we'll do our best to answer very well. All right. Any other question? At what point should a master's student who will graduate in 2026 start the EB2 application? This is from Mustafa. So, again, the starting point for me when it comes to all these things is what you have under your belt. Because, again, there are some people who haven't even entered the United States, but they qualify for the EB2 NIW. So let's assume you're already qualified before even coming in. So day one, you're in the United States, you already have a portfolio, right? So it comes down to you finding out whether you are eligible. So the moment you find out that, okay, this is what the law provides, I'm eligible, then you should start working on it. What again I always cancel against is, do not wait till you have 60 days. The reason being that, number one, you're going to be in panic mode. Number two, the immigration process is not very fast. It's not like a very fast track process. That, in fact, putting these cases together, putting a winning EB2 case together, it does take a while because you are really calling to question your entire career, your entire education. You're like getting documents from here and there. And for those of you that are overseas, you're bringing in documents from overseas. It's not that easy. You're getting your evaluation, right? That in and of itself could take months. So putting these cases together, does it takes time. And again, we're in a new administration where I think with the last Trump one era, where if you even make an application and that application is denied, you would most likely be put in removal proceedings. So you don't want to just throw anything into the system. You don't want to just put any kind of application in the system. You want to really put something that's competent, something that is strong, something that is a winning case. So essentially, Mr. Mustafa, what I'm saying is that you would really need to first of all determine what you have, your credentials. Do you meet the criteria? Okay. So if you meet the criteria, then go ahead and make the application. I mean, I have clients who have their green cards and they're still doing their PhD because they started early. They came into the United States, they found out that maybe they met the criteria, they did the consultation, and they are qualified for the EB2. They went ahead and applied, and they have their green card, but still they are still pursuing their, what's it called, PhD. So before they graduate, before their program is over, they already adjusted because they started early. So for me, it's not just a function of time, but it's more of less what you carry. What are you bringing to the table? That's always the very crucial issue that needs to be determined. You understand? Okay, Mr. Mustafa, I hope that helps you. And if you have further questions you want us to deal with, feel free to reach out. Okay, Mr. Joseph, I have a master's from and research experience in Europe and UVA and FSU. Wonderful, Mr. Joseph. Okay, I don't know what FSU means. Okay, UVA might be University of Virginia. Again, I'm not 100% sure. So, whatever UVA and FSU means, I don't know. Those acronyms, I'm not sure what they mean. If you're here right now, you can tell us what they mean. But essentially, you're telling me that you have a master's degree from outside the United States and research experience from Europe. That is a good sign for the EB2 or EB1 process. That's a good thing. So the next step for you is to move forward with a consultation. Reach out to your attorney or any attorney of your choosing. Sit down with them, spill out all you have, show them what you have, and then let them see if it matches your talking points or your proposed endeavor. Because based off of my experience, I've seen people who would tell me, oh, I have 18 research papers. Again, I'm just throwing out the numbers. They have so many research papers, and then when you start looking at these research papers, you begin to find all kinds of things going on. Some are not related to the talking points, some are pulls apart. Like, just because you have some research does not necessarily mean that all of them are going to be useful. That's what I'm saying. From my experience, we sort of have to look at these research papers and then rank them in relationship to the talking point, to your proposed endeavor. Because guess what? A lot of international students, researchers do a lot of things over the course of their career. They write on this, they write on climate change, they write on all kinds of topics, right? But in a world of EB2 NIW, you want some kind of alignment with your proposed endeavor. So you having research, beautiful. You having a master's, amazing. But take it one step further, do a consultation so that we see the alignment in your portfolio. All right? Okay, any more questions? All right. Okay, Mustafa, you say I have applied for my wife's and children F2 visas, but there is no date in 2025. Can they still be allowed to come in 2026 when my program finishes in May 2026? Okay, what does finishing mean? Because if you are going to be doing OPT for the next 3 years, that's not finishing anytime soon. Are you done with the OPT or are you just done with coursework? So, hey, these are questions I would like to ask. But let's just say that your entire program is ending, as you stated, in May. And then why? I mean, the whole point of F2 and the dependent visa, which is F2, is for your dependents to be with you. You're undertaking a program. You don't need to be separated from your family. There's family unity. So the law does encourages family unity, which is a beautiful thing. However, if your program is going to be rounding up, it means you're either returning back home to your home country. And if you're coming to me, let's say I'm maybe the VO or the visa officer, your program is rounding up in a few months' time. Why would I want to approve dependent visas for your family when you're returning back home anytime soon? So you can see that that doesn't look good for approval. Yeah. All right, I'll take another question. Any other question? Yeah, Blessing, you can see me. Let's know the details of that, okay? Let's know the detail of the H1B. All right. Any other question? All right. So that's all we've got for today. Thank you once again, guys. I just want to say that I really appreciate everyone that's here today. And we would be doing that seminar for pastors. So if you know any pastor, you know any elder in a church, we really want to equip our community with information at a time like this. This is not a time to put your head down. You need to get information that will help your congregation. All right, so please, that seminar will be coming up on February 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Subscribe to this channel, to my website, and you'll be getting the link. Please, go-attorney.com. Oh, I have a question here. It says, is a university lecturer, researcher in Nigeria with article publications in referred journal and belongs to relevant professional association, peer review, eligible for EB1? Literally, it seems like you're going over all the legal requirements. I mean, if the thing is, I can't sit down here and just say you qualify or you're eligible, but based on what you've just shown, it looks it's looking good. But again, I don't know what the proposed endeavor is. I don't know what these things, the details. Okay, so if you have done some publication in like prestigious journals, if you've reviewed other people's work, you belong to professional associations for EB1, please pay attention. It's not the just money paying. Okay, it has to be merit based. You understand? You're joining because you've there's an achievement, not just that, oh, you paid money and you joined Society of um, Mechanical Engineers. No, it has to be based on merit. Okay, so and even the peer review, there are requirements for that. So again, Mr. Moses, for me, you really, again, we have a very top-notch screening standard for all these cases. We cannot even accept any of these cases unless there is a consultation where questions are asked and we're sure that you have all the evidence that's needed and we can help you, because we don't have any interest in taking cases that we cannot win. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to the goal here for us is to get you from point A to point B. Our goal is to make sure that we win these cases for you. So the only way we can be certain, at least to be sure that, okay, not 100% guaranteed, but at least we're sure that we're going in, we're not blindsided, is to do that consultation and make sure that you have the required evidence. I know we just won a case for EB1, material science engineer, and he had, I think, 40 research papers, numerous reviewer of several prestigious journals, and lots of Google citations. So, hey, you know, we did the consultation. We were very confident by God's grace that we could pull that case through. And then we submitted the case. And today, my client has his green card here in the United States, and was so happy for him. And that's what we want for everyone. We don't just want to say, hey, bring your case. We don't know what you have. And then in the middle of the case, now we find out that there's nothing to back up your case. We don't approve these cases, right? As lawyers, we put the case together, we review the law, we check if you meet the legal requirements, we work the case, put in a very beautiful case, tell your story in a way that is really in line with the legal requirement, and then we submit the cases, and then the government does the approval. Okay, so we don't approve these cases. For that reason, we have to make sure that you meet the eligibility requirements. So, on that note, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to like, and of course, feel free to share. We're very thankful for your presence here today. And next week, Saturday, we are also going to host another live session where we'll be talking about that EB1 case I told you about. And if I can bring my client in, I'll try my best. If I can't, but I'll be discussing the requirements for the EB1 NIW pathway. So if you are interested in the EB1, just come over. I will first of all discuss that case, and then I'll take all your questions on the EB1 green card pathway, and then hopefully we'll be able to provide you with good content that will enable you be successful in your immigration journey. Let me tell you something before I leave you today. What happens when these cases are approved? The end product of these cases is that you get a green card. You become a permanent resident of the United States. Listen, that is like night and day. Your life changes. You're not afraid of deportation again. You can travel outside the United States. Of course, you don't want to overstay more than 6 months and then come back without so much scrutiny and secondary inspections and all that, right? You can even file for some family members. And the most beautiful part is that your income has the capacity to change. For you guys that are international students, many of you have master's, PhD. By the time you take your green card to the job market, you are likely to get really good jobs. And then your life changes. You can enjoy the American dream. So the whole purpose of this channel is to enable you get that green card. And that's why it's called NIW approved. We've helped so many clients in the biomedical field, engineering field, in the arts. We've really helped them to make that transition. Just this last Friday, we got a green card for a client of mine who is in the oil and gas industry. So these are the things we do for clients, and at the end of the day, our joy is to see you get the green card. So, on that note, I want to thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence, and I look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, 12 noon Eastern Time, where we're going to talk about all things EB1. God bless you.